Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. We're here today with Aimee Parnell, the new director of the Greater Falls Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Aimee. We're going to be talking about that and the Flannel Festival and things happening this summer. But first, Marty with local events.
So at the Bellows Falls Opera House through June 3rd is Lilo and Stitch. And I was like, how many versions is it? Is it like a new version? Is it Lilo and Stitch 5? I don't know.
As I understand it, it did really well at the box office this weekend. It was like number one, which for me is hard to believe. You know, I'd never heard of it, but sorry. That's my sheltered existence.
My 9-year-old is asking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I know about it.
That's an endorsement. If
Yeah.
There we go. The classic movie is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. That's a Steve Martin, Michael Caine production. That you must have heard of.
I have.
Heard,
I've watched it several times.
Dating ourselves with the date. That's being sponsored by JP Trucking, Hodgkins and Sons. On Friday, June 6th, there will be an Ash Wheelit concert at the Bells Falls Opera House. I was gone that day, but you had somebody from Ash
they were
Wheelit
on
come in and talk.
last year, and they were really good.
It's Spring with Beethoven and the Schumanns. Can't read my own writing. So the doors are at 6:30 and the concert is at 7:30. You can go to the Bells Falls Opera House site and it will send you to the Ash Wheelit site for tickets. You can't buy the tickets right on the Opera House website. So it's a little different than some of the events that they do. And if you don't like Beethoven and you're an 80s rocker, then you can wait until Saturday, June 7th, because 8084, local 80s rocker band, is coming to the Opera House to do a concert. And we actually are getting 8084 via Zoom a little bit later today. So you have a show and you'll hear all about the background of 8084. So that their opener is John Sullivan. The show's at 7:30 and ticket range is between $20 and $30. And there are still a few seats available, but I'm going to guess the show's going to sell out. So you might want to get your tickets now. On Saturday, June 7th, from 2 to 4 p.m., is the Parks Place 30th anniversary. They're inviting anyone to come to join them for pizza, music, games, and birthday cake.
Okay.
They got me at birthday cake. Their special guests, Troy Wonderly and DJ Wade the Great. It's at Parks Place, and actually Jen Heidbrink will be on next week to give us more details about that.
Oh, great, good.
So,
and I have one too. This weekend at Main Street Arts in Saxons River is Tales from the Land. It's a play that they're putting on. It was it's an original play written by John Hedden. And it's about people who live off the land or have worked on the land, like farmers and loggers and people like that, and it's their stories told by children.
That's neat.
So it should be an interesting exercise, and it's Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. at Main Street Arts in Saxons River. Aimee, welcome. Good to see you.
You too. Thanks.
So you're the new director at Greater Falls Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is a mouthful, but anyway. How did you come to be the director of the Greater Falls Regional Chamber of Commerce?
You say it as many times as you can.
Well, so we're starting out on a rebranding, and I think the direction we're going to go in is going to be less tongue twistery. So I'm trying out Great Falls Chamber.
Oh, good.
As the new moniker. And so the way I got here was I spotted their posting on Indeed. I live in Springfield, Vermont, and have done for 8 years. We moved here when our son was 3 months old, and he's 9, just about. We had gone to the Flannel Festival and absolutely loved it. And I'm some of our first friends when we moved to Springfield, because we didn't know anybody when we got here, was Steve Matush. His son, Nick, is the owner and chef at the Copper Fox on Main Street in Springfield. And Steve Matush is part of the Springfield Springers, who play each year at the Flannel Festival. They're good fun. And so I really wanted to be a part of that. I'm really excited. I love the arts, and I see this as a great opportunity to show people that come to our community, and also to show our own community the richness of talent and resources that we have here.
Yeah.
We really do. We have, like, you probably don't have yet. I'm sure you're just kind of getting your feet wet with the history of Bells Falls, but it's had its ups and downs. And we really are in pretty much a renaissance stage right now. So you're coming at a good time.
Yeah, I feel it.
You're not coming when it was in a lower stage, and then you might have way more of your work cut out.
Yeah.
But it's really, there's a lot, and a lot of local people don't sometimes even realize what we have here. So I think that's a good position to take, not only to get the tourists to understand, but just to get the locals to take advantage. That's kind of what we
That's
do, what we do.
Yeah.
And she's the local and I'm the tourist.
Implant.
No, seriously, I moved
Yeah.
here from Dallas in the 80s. So,
Okay.
and Marty's been here
Born and
forever.
raised.
So,
Right on.
yeah.
Yeah.
From Bellows Falls.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep. Terrier Pride.
Yeah.
Alumni.
So we give
Classified.
we
give
have
it a hard time about it.
yeah, we do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think it gives us a good perspective as far as, because I guess my perspective is always like, I see that it's a privilege to live here because there are just so many neat things going on.
Yeah.
And maybe the locals might take it more for granted.
Not my
than-
perspective, but I do know that the local perspective sometimes is kind of a Debbie Downer perspective. There's nothing to do in this town. Why do we have this? Why are our taxes so high? All of this negative.
Yeah.
And my theory is that maybe you gotta take a different lens and look and really take advantage. And that's why I guess I'm passionate about promoting the things, and so it's nice that you see that too, and that's really helpful. So what have you done? Like, I'm assuming it's kind of overwhelming, but have you done like a tour and gone and what's your plan?
Yeah.
How do you
That's a
learn
big
about Bells
question.
Falls?
Yeah. Well, I guess just to take one step back for a minute, I wanted to say that that energy, that renaissance, I can really see it, and that was another aspect of what drew me here.
Nice.
And I am so aware of the kind of negativity bias that I see on, I go on social media and kind of just monitor what's going on so that I'm informed. But I just yesterday read on U.S. News and World Report, they just submitted their states ranking.
Oh, yeah?
Vermont is number 4
Wow.
in the nation, and New Hampshire's number 2. So we are right here at this nexus of wonderfulness. And people, it is empirically a good place to live. And so my background, I was a Peace Corps volunteer for many years, and where I served was a little tiny village called Mayumba, Gabon. It was on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, right at the equator, and the villages that I would go and visit every month with my little puppet shows and films and stuff, they lived less than a mile from this coast where it was the #1 nesting beach in the world for leatherback sea turtles. They'd have 30,000 turtles a year come and nest on their shores, and it's a critical place to protect for that an endangered species. They didn't know that because the kids can't, there's an impenetrable forest in between the lagoon and the ocean. So all these kids, despite being a mile away, had never seen a turtle.
Really?
Yeah, and so what I did in that role was I would go on the night patrols with the sea turtle counting, they'd count nests, and I'd go along and I'd film the turtles, and I'd go out on the research boat and I'd film the humpback whales and the dolphins, and I'd take these to the villages, and these kids would see this rich wildlife that is their heritage,
yeah.
and they would see what it was that was worth protecting by the new national park, and how tourists will come and pay to see the same turtle over and over again, rather than just, you collect the eggs, you sell them once, or you collect the meat, you sell it once. So I come from a background of illuminating the good in what the community is, and that's just always been something that has motivated me. So my plan going forward is to make the chamber this beacon of come here to see what is good about our community. Like, how can we connect and help each other?
That's almost a traditional role of the Chamber of Commerce, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the I don't want to say back in the day, but back in the 70s or 60s,
Mm-hmm.
people would, when they wanted to learn about a community, they went to the Chamber of Commerce,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was either a person there or a booth there, and they told you all about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of fallen by the wayside, and
Mm-hmm.
with social media and everything else. And are you going to somehow recreate that role, but maybe not through a booth, but or a kiosk? But,
And because of my background in education, I'm also a big proponent of universal design for learning. And so there are so many different ways that you can get the message out. Some people are more like traditional forms, like a paper form
yeah,
mailed to them is going to be the way that they access the information. Other people want an app. And other people want to watch a video. Some people want to read something. And so sending all of those different ways of accessing that information is going to be my strategy. Put things where people will see them, and where it's something that will attract their attention in the way that they learn. Yeah.
It's important because we sometimes we've gotten so used to our phones and being able to do everything on our phone, but not everybody does that. They want the paper copy. They want you to mail them we can talk about your survey. They want you to mail them a survey so they can
fill it out Yep.
and bring it back in versus figuring out how to do it online or clicking on a QR code or something like that. So that's a good approach.
Yeah. And everybody is going to be arriving at this point from a different journey, and so that has to inform how we meet them.
That's true.
Yeah.
So how is the transition going on? Because now you're the new director. Are you reforming the board, or how?
Well, the board has been doing everything voluntarily for the last 8 months. The previous director retired, and so they have not had an employed at the chamber for the last several months. So I'm doing a lot of foundational work for organizing the administrative paperwork and all the systems that make things run really well. I really enjoy doing that.
Getting your ducks in a row.
Getting all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
A big part of it is just learning. I have like 47 tabs open of things that I need to read.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, so even though I'm from the area, recently, I'm always going to be a flatlander, even though I moved from 9,000 feet in Colorado. But so I've got things to learn, even though I've been in Springfield and I'm familiar with Putney and Saxton's River and a little bit of Bellows Falls. I haven't had time yet to do that deep dive and to really be informed about what is the spirit of each of the communities that we serve, what identities do people feel need to be promoted for each of these places,
right.
and how can we connect those dots. So that's my hope.
So what is the catchment? What is the area of Greater Falls Regional Chamber of Commerce for us that don't know?
Yeah, so the current communities we serve, and I don't know if this is able to be zoomed in on, or I could just give you the thing, but I can hold it up, is Alstead, Athens, Bellows Falls, Charlestown, Grafton, Putney, Rockingham, Saxton's River, Walpole, and Westminster.
Wow, that's
It's a big
big
swath.
area.
Yeah.
So these are amazing communities. The things that I do know about them, I'm so excited to get to work on the team that makes them, known to people. So that's our area, and. I got my work cut out for me.
I was just thinking the beauty of that is there's a lot of different communities that each have something to offer, but the flip side of the coin is they're all a little different in how they identify what they, what their thing is. So you're juggling sometimes a lot of different different stuff. Yeah, so it's not that easy being chamber director. Some people might think that it's
but I like
kind
a
of
challenge.
So you're going to talk about
No.
so Flannel Festival.
Yes.
I think that's what everyone is hoping is coming back.
It is.
And have you have the date set?
We have the dates set. They are.
Oh, sorry, I skipped
It's
ahead on your
okay.
list of things.
October 18th and 19th.
And are you, like, maybe you're not quite there yet because you have some other things, but are you going to try to do status quo until you get a feel for it? Are you going to try to introduce something new? I mean, it's been gone for a year, so this would be the time to introduce something new. What is the plan?
So we will keep the classic elements that are popular for sure. And I think it is a really amazing model of how to have a festival. I love that it's on a farm. I love the local musicians and the local crafters and how it really highlights what we've got going on right here. I also was thinking about a few things that I'd like to add.
Don't want to give them away.
I don't want to give them away.
We're having, but just to say,
I do like things that are sparkly and kind of whimsical, so I'll give that hint. And I have a board meeting right after this where we're going to discuss them, so maybe I'll have some more details next time.
Yeah, nice. Well, I think Charlie's doing a series this summer too called Music Wednesdays,
That's
Music
right.
on the Farm. Maybe.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah,
And he's going to have, so that might be another, people get more familiar with the
Right.
setting, and also it's almost like I don't want to say a rehearsal, but if he's doing something
A
like
warm-up.
that, if you're doing something that,
Yeah.
like
To
that,
work the kinks
you pick
out
up all the
somewhat, yeah.
kinks and what,
Yeah.
because I heard they're going to have different food trucks,
Oh, nice.
and maybe different brewers that
Oh,
may-
kind of like the almost like what they do down at the
in Brattleboro, at the farm.
yeah, the retreat
Farm.
farm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good model. I guess I thought it was just music. I didn't really read all the
I
details,
was
but that makes
reading
sense
some
because
of it, it's sort of like maybe not huge, but maybe like because they had Mount Holly brewing there a couple times, so that's always really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I
It's
guess so you have are those some other things that are coming up that you want to talk to the audience about?
We've also got coming up in August, so even sooner, Rockingham Old Home Days, August 1st through 3rd.
Nice. A classic. That was the
That
thing
was
that
the-
people would
that's
want to be
always-
wanting
that's
Yeah.
about
one of the
Old Home Days.
Big summer events. So
Yeah. So similarly, I'm hoping to keep the classic things that people love and expect, and also add a few sparkly musical touches of my own. Yeah.
That's great.
And is there one more thing on there? Was there one more thing that you wanted to?
Well, we are about to send out the sponsorship packet. So,
Okay.
so if there are members or other organizations in the area that are interested in supporting this community event that has last time had 5,000 attendees, both local and from out of town. So it's a really great chance to show how you support your community and just get your name out there. So that's an opportunity that is going to be coming to people's inboxes soon.
And then I think that for both events, you always are looking for volunteers as well.
That's right.
And
yes.
kind of, like with the Old Home Days that did happen last year, so people were kind of in line for volunteer. But with the Flannel Festival, you might have lost some because a year off and people do other things, so you might have to rebuild that volunteer team.
Yes.
But I'm assuming that's another need that you have.
That is a priority
Yeah.
for sure. And I am so grateful to our board because they are all volunteers and they've worked so hard and they've got so much ready for me. So I'm not starting from scratch.
Yeah, right.
So I'm really grateful for that support. One of the things that I'm confident about is that we will be able to get volunteers for these events because of how fun they are.
They are fun. That's true.
When I was in Springfield, I was the director of SAPA TV, which is the public access station there. And one of the events that we initiated while I was working there is Rollin' on the River, the roller skating events at 100 River Street.
Yeah.
And that was entirely a volunteer effort. We had over 200 volunteer hours and 100 kids come, and it was all free, and everybody just pitched in and made it happen. Lots of support from different organizations. So I think that just keeping that same energy of people being motivated to be active in their community.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you see a role for Fact TV in all this promotion?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, having an inside look of how public access works. I know how powerful you are. That's true. Like, I know about the VMix. I know that goes out to all the 24 member stations of the Vermont Access Network. I was the vice president of the board of directors of VAN before I came to this role. So I'm excited to get to use that background and the connections that I have in that world to get the word out for what we're doing here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great.
So might there be a weekly or bi-weekly Aimee from the Chamber show on TV here?
I'd be happy to come in. Yeah, we'll
Just
see.
putting up, Alex is going to be so happy. He likes it when we put plugs in for new programming.
Yeah,
We're always looking for content.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Always
see.
looking for
Like,
content.
as I get things sorted out and have a little bit more time on my plate to.
No, I just think I see public access like you as a huge tool that is really underutilized because everybody is watching TV or on YouTube or Facebook or some sort of media, and a lot of people don't realize that you could come in here and create content and put your message out with really
it's super
very little
easy.
expenditure.
And like
It's
this
time.
kind of show, it's time.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't have to do all the technical stuff. We've got that covered. So
Yeah.
you just really have to have your message.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm just going to look at how we're doing. We've got about 4 minutes.
Okay.
So do you want to talk about the survey and how that's going to maybe
Sure.
help you and how to access the survey?
Yes. So one of my first things that I'm doing is trying to gather information about how we should move forward. We've had this kind of period of dormancy, I feel, and now as we come back, I want to be really intentional about how we proceed, and I want to listen so that I know what the needs are. So that feedback from the community is really important to me. So we designed a 8-question survey, which I might be doing some updates to make it a little bit more multiple choice. But it is currently open-ended, and you can give your opinion in 2 words or I don't know. I think it has a 500 character limit or something.
That's a lot of characters, actually.
Yeah. So so that went out to our mailing list with our newsletter yesterday, and it is on our Facebook page and our Instagram, which I just started an Instagram page. It's got 3 posts. We're going to start being really intentional and strategic about our social media marketing. I have a background in that, and I've got good friends who are advising me on best practices. So I'm going to look at each of these communities. I'm going to plan out, this week we're highlighting this week we're highlighting that, and have it be thematic and make sense. And I'm looking forward to that.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And are there other ways people, like if someone isn't in social media, or what's your next level of how you're going to get that word out for the survey?
So we also are going to mail the surveys out, and I'm going to, I know that not everybody uses, QR codes to get places, but I'm going to put up some QR codes around town so people can scan it when they're in a local business. They can see it, and maybe some postcards out there here and there.
But people could go. Is your website still the same? Is it grfrcc.org?
That is the current website, yes.
Okay. And do we have other contact information we can pop up there? There we go. Yeah. So if someone wasn't on the mailing list, they heard this and they wanted to, they could go to the website, they could give you a call, do you have set hours yet? I know that was one of the questions.
That's one of the questions.
Yeah, I did know that. That was a
Um,
multiple choice question, so they weren't all.
that one I didn't want to leave that open-ended.
Yeah, because you might be working.
There are some parameters. I have a 9-year-old. My husband is on a 6-week bike trip right now. He's raising funds for rare disease research. And so I approve of him being away for 6 weeks, even though it's challenging. So I'm solo parenting right now, and I work 30 hours a week for the chamber, and then the rest of the time I'm doing freelance video editing, and also, and I just joined the board of directors at the Springfield Area Parent-Child Center, so I'm going to be working on a lot of family-focused good things in our community. So just trying to maintain a balance and be present for my 9-year-old when he needs me. So I'm somewhere in the like 9 to 3 or 10 to 4, something like that.
Which is reasonable.
Maybe 3 or 4 days a week.
For the job that you're
the
doing,
moment.
That's a reasonable.
Yeah.
reasonable, yeah.
And then, if if you want to be a volunteer, please give me a call or email me, and we can train some docents to help at the Waypoint Center
that's a
and
great
have
idea.
expanded hours. I would love that if there would be, another friendly person sitting with me. I've been decorating the place using my education background. I used to run a preschool. I've had so many
That's
different
good.
roles
That's-
in my life.
That's what this job needs.
Yeah,
is a master of
perfect.
all trades.
Exactly.
Or
So,
a
yeah.
jack of all trades.
Yeah.
We are down to 30 seconds.
All right.
Okay.
So
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
coming
Thank you for
I hope
having
you
me.
you certainly
will come
can, if
on.
you don't want to do your own show, you can certainly be a regular guest on ours.
Yeah.
We do often and reoccurring guests if you have, as you're promoting things.
Okay.
So stay in
I'd love
touch.
that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Good.
And
And that's it for
that's
this
it for the
week. We'll
feed.
see you next week on the feed.
Bye,
Bye,
community.
community.